Which are the most important skills that you will need by 2030 to be relevant at work? Well, according to the latest report of the future of jobs by the World Economic Forum, there are 10 particular skills that you will need by 2030, which are the most important ones. And surprise, surprise, 5 of them, in other words, half, are social emotional skills. In other words, soft skills, which, as we know now, they are not soft at all. So it turns out that the first 3 are the ones that we sort of expect. They're related to AI and big data, networks and cybersecurity, technological literacy. In other words, skills that have to do with the artificial intelligence revolution we are living in right now. But then we have all these social emotional skills that are still going to be relevant, and they're going to become even more important by 2030. And we're talking about things like creative thinking. In other words, being able to come up with creative things, with new ways to look at things, to thinking, as we say, outside the box. We also need to develop our resilience, flexibility, and agility. In other words, our capacity to keep moving forward no matter what happens. And yes, this is a skill, and this is a skill we can learn. Flexibility and agility, be able to find obstacles and figure out ways to overcome them one way or another. Curiosity and lifelong learning. Well, we live in a world of upskilling and reskilling, where we need to keep learning because there's so many new things coming up at us that we just need to keep going. And that means we need to develop our curiosity. We need to become more and more curious so that we can keep up the motivation to keep learning over and over again. Then we also need leadership and social influence. Always. We've always needed good leadership, and definitely we need social influence to improve those positive leaderships. And again, these are skills that we can learn. There's no such thing as a leader born. It's a leader made. You can learn how to be a leader, but you have to put in the effort. You have to put in the time. And of course, we have analytical thinking. In other words, we live in such a world filled with so many information, and some of it bad. We need to figure out which is the right information and be able to define what's the movement, what the data is actually telling us, so that we can make better and better decisions. So here you have it. Most of the skills that we need are social emotional skills, and we need to start developing them as soon as possible. So remember, the best moment to start developing your social emotional skills is today. Well, actually, it was yesterday. And the second best time to do it is today. So just start moving forward and start developing those skills. My name is Jack Rayford Baruch. I'm a data scientist and a psychologist. See you next time.